it's Kelly. I am back with another process video, and today is a little bit of something different. I am using part of a kit that I have put together. I am the guest designer for the Counterfeit Kit Challenge blog for the month of October, and in the details section below I will link to their blog post or to their blog, and I will link to my blog post on what I put together with the kit. So I went ahead and I had pulled some papers out, and the first challenge is titled Snip Snip, and it's fussy cutting. And I pulled out that brown paper with the large florals from Pink Paisley, and it was perfect to cut some of the flowers out. So that was my inspiration for this challenge. So this is a picture of a turkey, and kind of is maybe a little funny or crazy thing to scrapbook, but I will get into that story in just a little bit. But I knew that this collection and these papers would be perfect for it. So I was just looking to try to decide which flowers that I wanted to fussy cut, and I chose 3, but in the end I only go with 2 of the larger flowers and then a couple more of the leaves. And this is just a great way to stretch a kit or stretch a collection, especially if you are a little bit low on embellishments. Flowers, leaves, shapes, they all make a nice thing to fussy cut out of paper, and I just really enjoy doing that and then layering them underneath my photo or beside my photo. So the other thing that I had pulled out were some of the Pink Paisley Cedar Lane ephemera or die cuts. I'm not sure what this pack was called, and I'm trying to just pull things that are either in that turquoise or have some of the rich browns or the creams, the gold. I'm not quite sure exactly where else this page is going to go, but I wanted to have it very warm. And in just a minute, you're going to see that I swap out my background, the brown chevron, for white cardstock. And I really wanted to use that brown because I wanted to stretch my creativity and use a darker pattern paper. I frequently use white cardstock or a lighter color pattern paper, and I wanted to try to do it, but I just felt like the embellishments that I had pulled, or a few of them that I'd wanted to use, were so dark that it really needed to have a lighter background. And if I had had a pattern paper that was light that would look good, I would have used that. So right now I'm just moving things around, trying to figure out where I want my clusters. And as I'm looking at things, I'm noticing that my color scheme is changing just a little bit. And the golden yellow and the brown is still going to be there, but I'm contemplating pulling in a little bit more of the pink. And that doesn't sound like it would be something that, or at least for me, that I would have thought of right away. But the leaves in one of the flowers has a little bit of pink, and then the acetate leaves that I had pulled to, use in a cluster also had that really pretty pink color. So I'm going to start off playing around with some different pattern papers and just decide that I'm not liking, it being dark, and I'm going to come back in just a bit and add pink to it. So I want to brighten up the edges of the photo because the photo is pretty dark, so that pattern paper is perfect. I love 6x6 paper pads for layering pieces up under my photos, and also just like for die cuts and things. I have found for me that I'm not buying as many of the 12x12 sheets of paper, and just trying to pick my favorites from that, and then to go ahead and get the 6x6 paper pad. And the reason that I'm doing that is, budget, and I find that I can get more bang for my buck, I think, with the 6x6 paper pad. So this original design that I'm using with like a 1/3 with the pattern paper, this is one of my favorite things that I do. And I wanted to have a border along the edge. And that was the first like chevron, multicolored chevron that I had pulled was one way that I thought of incorporating the pink, but I didn't like it. So I pulled out the washi tape booklet from DIY Home and decided to use this really pretty brown and white stripe, and it just really helps bring in the warmth that I was looking for with this. So I'm going to go ahead and get things stuck down. I am liking the way that it's coming together, although it still takes me a while to get the entire layout put together, just because, you know, in my head I'm thinking, do I want to add the pink? I don't really want to add the pink. Who adds pink on a Thanksgiving page? But it just, you know, I kept on, you know, you can see it in the bottom part of my screen, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, no, and yes, no. And so when I can't make up my mind with things like that, I'm going to just keep on going and trying to do other things until I finally decide to break down and back the photo in with the pink. And again, like I said, that if you look at the cluster, you see the flower, that leaf has that bright bit of pink, and then the acetate leaves, which I'm not sure, they must be hidden under my little mess there, have that pink and gold. So I thought that I was going to use another smaller flower in the cluster just to balance it out, but I didn't like the way that it looked, and then when I put it up top, I felt like it was too big. And I have these arrows pulled out, and I was hoping that I'd be able to get one used on the page, but there was just something that I wasn't liking about it, and I'm not sure what. I did pull a leaf clip that I had also in the kit and put that over in that upper right hand cluster along with the Splendid tab, and just liked the way that that looked. And at this point I finally decided, well, let me just try the pink and see how it looks. And it just brought more warmth and it brightened it up a little bit more. So I'm going to decide to go back to the paper pad and pull out a 4th pattern paper, and this one has it's a lighter brown with the darker brown and some pink in it as well. I just wanted another paper to pull in some of the color and to help tie everything together. So this is where I'm just kind of messing around with my clusters, trying to figure out what I want to use if I want to try to get that tag on. And I didn't like the way that that lighter turquoise color was looking, so I went ahead and just abandoned that. Now here's where I'm going to go ahead and cut down that paper with the leaves on it, and when I'm looking at the layout afterwards, it just has those nice little pops of color, and it just really helps to bring together the pink from the leaves, and you know, just it finishes off the layout. An easy way, you know, you think that a collection is made to go together for a reason, and you know, they will have colors sometimes that aren't your favorite, or you don't necessarily think of choosing when you're making your layout, or at least it is with me. But I find if I don't fight it and use what the designers put together, it just goes well, and it goes well for a reason. And it's because, you know, they're the designers, and it just worked. And it was nice to have a somewhat traditional color scheme with something that was a little bit different. So I'm going to stick these leaves down, and afterwards, once the camera's off, I'm going to switch the orientation of them just so that the words that are typed on that bottom leaf are legible. I, you know, realized that the words were going at the wrong angle, and that was going to bug me. So I am going to, later on after the camera's off, switch them. So those gold leaves I'm going to also add in the cluster, and I found those at Target Dollar Spot last year, and I have not used them. And when I was looking through the rest of the things, I had pulled out for my kit these Dear Lizzie gold thickers, and they just work well with the gold leaves, and then of course the colors in the kit that I had pulled. So one of the acetates from the Pink Paisley collection has the best written on it. And so I just went creative with my title and just made it the best turkey. So back to my turkey story. My mother is not the greatest cook. And so growing up, I just assumed turkey was dry and pretty tasteless and you had to drown it in gravy to kind of make it anything edible. And you know, it was not until I was in my 30s when I had a friend who was a very good cook, and she stirred me, or she just made me start thinking about cooking in a whole different light. And she sent me this recipe, which I have linked in my blog post, and it is truly a game changer. It's got I use a fresh turkey, number one, not frozen, and put fresh herbs and citrus, like I cut in half. I think it's just lemons, but it may be an orange in there as well. I can't remember without looking at the recipe, but it truly does make a huge difference in the taste of turkey, and it just, you know, turned it around for us. And my husband now has told me that wherever we go for Thanksgiving, it's my job to make the turkey, because he grew up with dry, tasteless turkey as well. So anyway, I just am going to add a little bit of journaling on the side that you can see in the close-ups about how it was a game changer for us. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Be sure to check out the Counterfeit Kit Challenge. It is a great challenge blog that encourages you to use your stash, and what better thing to do than use the products that we have bought and are hoarding. So for me, this has been this collection. I have loved the Pink Paisley Cedar Lane collection. So I do have some close-ups coming up. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.